Good morning, everyone. We have a real mix of some good news and some bad news today, and we'll go over all of it. I want to start, in this case, I think a piece of good news that really does bear recapping. Yesterday, just a really beautiful gathering in Times Square, a really clear sign of our recovery, the fact that New York City is coming back. Broadway's coming back. I was joined by Lin-Manuel Miranda in Times Square with live music, live singing, a joyous occasion to mark the opening of our vaccination center specifically for the theater community and the film and TV community to help bring them back strong. We need our cultural community back. We need all of New York City to come alive again, and we are a city of culture and the arts. And making sure that folks are protected so they can come back and do this great work is so important. So there was really a joyous atmosphere yesterday because it was a celebration of the fact that we are coming back and folks now have a place to turn for free vaccinations. But really it was a celebration of the beauty of the arts and culture in this city and the fact that people are yearning for them. Lin-Manuel Miranda made the point that just seeing a live performance again meant so much to him. And you could tell, it was just like gripping him. And I think that feeling is going to be so true for people this summer, this fall, all over New York City as we come back to life. So thanks to Lin-Manuel Miranda and Luis Miranda, his dad, who's done so much for this city. It was a very special moment. Now, everyone, I said we have a mix of good news and bad news. This one is definitely in the bad news category. We have breaking news this morning from the FDA and the CDC recommending a halt to the use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The information so far, and our doctors will certainly speak more about it later on, but that there have been a few instances of blood clots. Apparently these are very rare in the scheme of things, 6 cases out of 7 million shots given. But out of abundance of caution, the federal authorities are calling for a pause, for a full investigation to be done. I want to give you the facts from this city. So far, there's been 234,000 doses of a Johnson & Johnson vaccine given, and thank God, no reports at all to date of any blood clots. But we take this very seriously. Federal government has called for a cautious approach here. We are acting on that immediately. And this is, look, it's a challenge. And it's certainly something that makes me sad given how much progress we've been making lately. But it's also an example of an early warning system working because a problem was identified, was actually noted quickly and acted on quickly based on just 6 cases. And that's important because we want that kind of warning system to be functioning at all times. So here in the city, we're immediately pausing all Johnson & Johnson vaccinations. Every site has been told this morning to stop giving J&J shots. Our vaccine command center is now coordinating new appointments for everyone who was scheduled for today and the coming days for Johnson & Johnson. So everyone who was scheduled to come to one of our centers will get a new appointment, obviously with a Moderna or Pfizer vaccine for the foreseeable future. We have a lot of work to do to figure out how to make other adjustments, and obviously we'll be watching very carefully for the results of the federal investigation here. Just to affirm, for everyone who did receive a Johnson & Johnson shot, I received the shot. Our Health Commissioner, Dave Choksi, received the shot. We believe in the effectiveness of this vaccine, but obviously we take seriously any warning and it needs to be fully investigated. But in the meantime, it has been a crucial part of our fight against COVID, and you'll see later on in our indicators, obviously we are starting to make some real progress, and Johnson & Johnson has been a part of that. So the investigation will take place. We'll learn the results, but in the meantime, we will lean heavily into Pfizer and Moderna. Now, I want to call upon the federal government to help us because we're hearing reports from around the country of places that are not asking for more vaccine or not using the vaccine that they've gotten. Okay, let's do the smart thing now, especially in light of this Johnson & Johnson challenge. Federal government needs to step in, and any place that's not using their vaccine, send them to New York City, for God's sakes. We have endless need, endless demand. We've got to get millions more people vaccinated. We need more vaccine immediately to make up for this challenge. Last point to date, just to give you the update for today, 5,180,338 vaccinations given to date in New York City. So notwithstanding the setback, our effort continues strong and will continue today and every day until we beat this disease. Okay, so that's challenging news. Let me give you something that's just plain good news now. And this is really a really important part of how we come back. A really important part of a recovery for all of us, because a recovery for all of us means that we are taking care of our kids and families. It means really being mindful of what everyone needs after everything they've been through with COVID. And we've heard from so many parents and so many kids that they've been through so much difficulty and they need every kind of help we can give them. And the more we've talked about it, our school's chancellor, Misha Ross Porter, and I, and our whole team, the more we've talked about it, the more we said we have to do something very big this summer, very different, like nothing you've ever seen in summer in New York City before. And so we're going to be announcing today something very exciting, our Summer Rising initiative. This means reaching our kids who have been through so much. Remember, so many of our kids have been through trauma, so many kids who have really missed the opportunity to be around their friends, to be around educators. We need something brand new. So this is not like what we've known in the past. This is really groundbreaking for this city and rare in this country that we would take an approach that really is for everyone in the summer. So this ends summer school as we knew it. This is something new. This is literally for every child who wants to participate. Doesn't matter if you've had challenges in school or you're doing great in school. You are welcome this summer for a very, very full program of, yes, academics, but also enrichment, culture, recreation, a full summer of programming for kids just so they have an opportunity to do something great, to continue to make progress, to come back from all the challenges that they've had in the last year. This is the model for the future. And what we're going to do in the summer of 2021 will become the model going forward for New York City. We've had some good success in the past welcoming in kids who just wanted more from the summer, not because of a specific academic challenge. We want summer to be a time where kids can take full advantage of these additional weeks and really, really add to their knowledge and also have just a wonderful experience all around. So we're going to not only be bringing in educators in the Department of Education, we're going to be bringing in the great folks at the Department of Youth and Community Development and all the nonprofits they work with who do great work every summer with kids to create something brand new. And this is exciting. I want to emphasize it is open to all our public school students, all, and it is free. We are ready to accommodate as many kids as want to be a part of this summer. And applications will open on Monday, April 26th. And that will be for programs at the K-8 level, and we'll be doing applications for kids in high school soon thereafter. Also important that unlike any of our previous initiatives, this will start summer opportunities starting at the kindergarten level. So, this is groundbreaking for New York City. This is a new kind of opportunity for families and kids. It's free, it's exciting, and I know a lot of educators are excited about it, a lot of families are excited about it, and I think there's someone very excited in the Bronx right now, and I believe there's a lot of energy up there, to maybe some cheering going on. Principal Luis Torres, Community School 55 in the Bronx. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Before I begin, I'd like to give Ms. Versami, our Big Apple finalist, and her first grade class a chance to say hello. Good
morning, everybody. You got a great group there, Principal.
Yeah, they're excited. My name is Luis Torres, and I'm the principal of Community School 55 in the Bronx. We are a community school with over 15 years of experience hosting summer programs for children in our community. To me, summer programming is an extension of the regular school year and a way to prepare for the fall. It's a time for educators to help students in need catch up and provide new opportunities for families to engage in their school community. That's why I'm so excited about Summer Rising. I know children in every borough will benefit tremendously from the student-centered and holistic approach. And using the community schools model will help strengthen relationships with community organizations across the city and provide countless new opportunities for our children. From learning to play a new instrument and growing their own vegetables to kicking a goal on the soccer field and making arts and crafts with new friends. I'm grateful to our community partners, Scan Harbor, and my community school director, Elizabeth Cedeno, for their unwavering support and dedication over the years, and I can't wait to get started on planning for this summer together. Over the years, I have seen the benefits of summer programming. The years where summer programming was effective had a major impact on student performance and limiting summer loss. With summer school, our children have more opportunities and access to resources. Having schools open during the summer is just not about academics. It's about serving and supporting the entire community. And after the challenges we faced together over the past year, is exactly what we need. I look forward to working with our partners at SCAN and the entire community to make this summer the best one yet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. I want to say to Principal Luis Torres, you got a lot of energy, my friend. I am impressed. Whatever you're drinking for breakfast, I want some, man. That's very good. Everyone, thank you to the kids. Everybody, thank you for letting us know how important it is to have a great summer and a summer that brings us back strong for all our kids. And now someone who feels it deeply and is very excited and brought a lot of the thinking together that will lead to this brand new approach, Summer Rising, our Chancellor, Misha Ross Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Luis Torres and the family at PS 55 in the Bronx. Mr. Mayor, you have to get there because that energy comes from the smoothies that they're making from the fresh vegetables and fruits they're growing at the top of that building, so you got to get over there.
I need a smoothie right now.
You do. Louis and I go way back, and he's built an amazing relationship with SCAN, a community-based organization in the Bronx, and I can't wait to see what exciting programming they have to offer for this year. And before I begin, I'd like to give an enormous thank you to Commissioner Chung and our partners at DYCD, our principals and staff, and our community-based organization partners for making this possible. A special thanks to all the CBOs who have been involved in helping us to reimagine what summer can be, including United Way, Children's Aid, Expand Ed Schools, and the Coalition for Community Schools for Excellence. This year is so important to really build partnerships to bring our schools back and to make Summer Rising an experience like no other. As the mayor said, we're thinking bigger and bolder this summer. More school buildings open, more enrichment, and more outdoor fun, expanding upon summer programming that we've offered in the past. And for the first time ever, we'll be serving students from kindergarten to 12th grade. With Summer Rising, we'll be able to provide students across the city with a holistic summer experience. This will include academic support, social emotional learning, and exciting enrichment opportunities. And it couldn't come at a better time. After a year of heroic work on the part of our families and schools, we are embarking on an unprecedented reimagining of what summer needs to be for our children and our school communities. After such a uniquely challenging year, I'm so excited to give our students something to look forward to. Summer Rising is an opportunity for them to learn, grow, play, and explore the city around them, from field trips to Central Park to dance classes across the city. It also gives our schools a chance to develop a unique program tailored to the needs and interests of their students and families. Communities know best what they want and need. Our schools will come together and partner with community-based organizations and families to design summer experiences that really center their children's needs for this summer. We are being thoughtful about the summer experience for every single student. Our students with disabilities with 12-month IEPs will be honored through a 5-day-a-week program with support from paraprofessionals. For grades K through 5, we will provide an all-day 7-week program 5 days per week from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. For grades 6 through 8, we will offer a 6-week program 4 days per week from 8 to 4 p.m. And for our high school students, we will continue to offer support for unfinished coursework and academic acceleration. We will also offer learning to work and summer youth employment opportunities, internships, and work experience programs for students who are interested and apply. Every child deserves access to enrichment opportunities, to academic acceleration, and to social emotional supports. Summer programs that are designed with both academic and enrichment components have proven benefits, and that's what Summer Rising is all about. And now for what you really want to know, how to sign up. Families who are interested may begin signing up on April 26th on DYCD's website. Finally, I'd like to give a super special thanks to Chris Caruso, who has led our community schools team tenaciously over the years and was an invaluable partner in making Summer Rising come to life. And with that, I'll turn back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very, very much, Chancellor. I also want to do a shout out. Thank you, Chris Caruso. You played such a crucial role in creating Summer Rising, but also in the incredible success over years now of our community school initiative. And Chris is moving on to other pastures. I don't know if they're greener, but they're other. But he's served this city so well. So really, thank you. This is a crowning achievement. And I want you to hear from someone who really knows his stuff and will tell you why this matters so much that we're doing Summer Rising. He was a public school teacher himself. And I really appreciate that he brings that experience to everything he does. As chair now of the Education Committee in the City Council, he's also been a very tenacious advocate for real school funding for this city and for the kids of this city. And he fought long and hard for what was finally achieved in Albany. I know you're feeling just what I'm feeling, Mark, that amazing victory that the Campaign for Fiscal Equity money will actually be in our budget going forward to serve our kids. My pleasure to introduce the chair of the Education Committee in the City Council, Mark Traeger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chancellor Ross Porter, to all of our great friends at DYCD, to those watching. Yes, major news out of Albany and major news also from Washington. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for helping advocate for years, even prior to being mayor, to fight for equity in terms of education funding. I want to give a big public shout out and thanks to Chancellor Ross Porter. You know, when she and I met recently, we discussed the importance of reconnecting, and reconnections means different things for our students. There are students who need additional academic support. There are students who need additional support in social emotional learning. There are students who need help in terms of employment, particularly our high school students. So this, to me, quite frankly, is a grand slam home run. And I would also argue that there's an issue of equity here, because if you're a child with an IEP, there's a program for you this summer. If you're a multilingual learner, there's a program for you this summer. If you're a child needing to reconnect with your peers and your classmates, there's a program for you this summer. If you're a teenager looking for help for employment and summer programming, there's an SYP program seat waiting for you this summer. So I think that we're hitting on all cylinders to best meet the needs of our kids at this very trying time and to create a bridge connection for deeper connections in the fall. So again, a big thank you to Chancellor Ross Porter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to our friends at DYCD. I love the fusion between DOE and DYCD. Big thanks also to my colleague, the chair of our youth committee, Councilmember Debbie Rose. This is a great day for our kids. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you for your support throughout. And Mark made a good point. This is about reconnecting. And think about the kids who haven't had an opportunity to be around other kids, haven't been around loving educators in a long, long time. This is going to be an amazing opportunity to really supercharge our comeback and really do great by our kids and our families, but also open the door wide to that moment in September where all our kids come back to our schools 5 days a week. This is a crucial component to making sure we build that bridge to September. So Summer Rising, very exciting and new reality for this city, and we're really looking forward to it. Now I'm going to talk to you about one more thing before I talk about our daily indicators. And so now we have some other good news things, and this is about celebrating New York City as well. This week is our 17th annual Immigrant Heritage Week. And this is so important to really celebrate who we are. I think everybody out there has their own story. We always remember, a lot of people came here of their free will, and some people were brought to New York City against their will. But for so many of us, the immigrant story is one of seeking something, a dream. I know it was true for my grandparents who came from small towns in southern Italy. I've been to those towns. They're about as far away as you could possibly imagine. And I always wonder, how did they have the kind of the hope, the energy, the faith to come thousands and thousands of miles away across the ocean and start a new life? Well, that's been the immigrant experience in so many different forms, and we celebrate it, and it's so much of what's made New York City great. So this city has been through so much, and even though there are those out there who try to attack and belittle immigrants, if they look at the success of New York City, they would realize they should honor immigrants and immigration, because this is what's been so crucial to the strength we've shown in this pandemic and so many other times before. So our Office of Immigrant Affairs will be doing a week-long series of celebrations and virtual events sharing stories of the immigrant experience. And we launched yesterday a great special effort, commissioned illustration, Immigrants Are Essential, by the Brooklyn-based illustrator Jason Raish, who comes originally from South Korea, expressing what it means, this crucial part of the New York experience and our identity. So a week to celebrate and a week to reflect on all we are. Okay, everyone, let's do our indicators. And indicators today also, again, long battle ahead against COVID, but some good news in these indicators today for sure. Number one, daily number of people admitted to New York City hospitals for suspected COVID-19. Today's report, 142 patients. You can see on that chart there, that's one of the lowest we've seen in quite a while. Confirmed positivity, 57.14%. Hospitalization rate, 3.06 per 100,000. So we're seeing some real movement there. Number two, new reported cases on a 7-day average. Today's report, 2,875 cases. Also movement there. And number three, percentage of people testing positive citywide for COVID. Today's report on a 7-day rolling average, 5.28%. So you'll see all of those charts moving in the right direction. More to do. And we got to keep at vaccination no matter how many curveballs are thrown at us, but definitely some hopeful signs in those numbers. I'm going to say a few words in Spanish, and I want to focus on Summer Rising, our new open invitation to all students to join us this summer. Los niños de la ciudad de Nueva York merecen las mejores oportunidades posibles. Hoy anunciamos Summer Rising, un nuevo programa de verano gratuito para alumnos de todas las edades. Es un programa integral que pone a los estudiantes en primer lugar. Vamos a ayudar a nuestros estudiantes a dejar atrás la pandemia. With that, we turn to our colleagues in the media, and please let me know the name and outlet of each journalist.
We'll now begin our Q&A. As a reminder, we're joined today by Chancellor Porter, by Principal Luis Torres, by DYCD Commissioner Bill Chong, by DYCD Deputy Commissioner Susan Haskell, by Dr. Choksi, and by Senior Advisor Dr. Jay Varma. The first question today goes to Andrew Siff from WNBC.
Andrew?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
There you go. How you doing, man?
Okay. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. On the Johnson & Johnson issue, what is the immediate impact for homebound seniors and other aspects of the city vaccination effort that are currently relying on Johnson & Johnson? What do you do with people who had Johnson & Johnson appointments today, tomorrow, the rest of this week?
Yeah, Andrew, as I said in the opening, and we're obviously moving immediately on this new information. We will not be using Johnson & Johnson vaccine until it's cleared by the federal government. So it means that all appointments that would have been for a Johnson & Johnson vaccine have been postponed. They're being rescheduled wherever possible to a situation where we use Moderna or Pfizer. The homebound initiative depended on Johnson & Johnson vaccine, so that will have to be suspended for now. We want to get back to that as quickly as possible, but we need, obviously, answers from the federal government. Go ahead, Andrew.
Could get your medical team to weigh in on this question as well as yourself. I'm wondering whether you've considered that the decision by the FDA to pause Johnson & Johnson might do more harm than good, in the sense that, first of all, if you consider the 6 cases out of nearly 7 million doses administered, and second of all, that it might remind people of advice they were given that turned out not to be true. For example, you yourself in the early days of COVID said, you can't even get it unless you're standing near someone who has symptoms. And we learned that wasn't true. You could get it from asymptomatic. People were told this time around, well, the vaccines are safe. Might this make them think, well, this is just what I feared, the vaccines aren't safe?
I'll start and I'll turn to my colleagues. Andrew, we from the very beginning with COVID, we've been honest about the fact that we don't know everything. And we always tried to give, I did and all our health team, the best information we had at that moment. But you can't say in the midst of a crisis, oh, well, we're not 100% sure about everything, so we're going to say nothing. You have to do your best to tell people what the truth is as we understand it. And generally that did help us all to get through this crisis, finding what we could find and acting on it. But we continue to learn on COVID, there's no question. As a layman, I would say to the first part of your question, yeah, obviously, a huge number of Americans have gotten vaccinated with almost no negative impact. I think the vaccines have proven themselves overwhelmingly. I hope people don't get discouraged because of this. I do appreciate that out of an abundance of caution, there's going to be an investigation. But I don't want us to lose the forest for the trees. Vaccination has been crucial in protecting people against a clear and present danger of COVID. So it doesn't change my view of vaccination one bit. I hope it won't change other people's view. We need vaccinations to overcome this crisis. But when we see a problem, it does make sense to look into that problem and just make sure we are finding every fact we can. I'll turn to Dr. Varma and Dr. Choksi.
Great. Thank you very much, Andrew, for the question. And what you say is exactly what the challenge is. Anytime you have a system that's designed to detect alarms and then respond to them, runs a danger that some people will perceive that as meaning the action that you're going to take is risky. Other people, and the message that I hope people receive is, this is a sign that our system is working. If a smoke alarm goes off and you immediately have a fire engine come to your doorstep and there's alarms blazing, some people might get scared about that. Other people may say, well, look, this is our system of protecting and making you safe. And that's really the message that we're really trying to deliver to people today. This is a sign that the U.S. has a system in place that identifies even the most rare events, things that occur 1 in a million times. And that's an important phrase. When you talk about something, oh, that's never going to happen. It's like a 1 in a million occurrence. So think about it that way. And the reason that CDC needs to meet this week is not because we think that the vaccine is risky, but we need to decide how this vaccine should be used, what we should tell doctors, what we should tell patients, because there may be a very, very small risk. But again, it's critically important for people to understand that this is a sign of how we evaluate our systems, how we detect and respond to things, and we're always going to use the best evidence. And the best evidence indicates that vaccines work. And this vaccine is going to almost certainly going to continue to be part of our armamentarium, but we do want to take that pause, look at the data, and try to figure out the best ways to use it.
Yeah, and as I turn to Dr. Choksi, Andrew, emphasizing that I got the J&J shot right here. In fact, Dr. Choksi got the J&J shot. I mean, we obviously had faith in it, and for our own selves, our own families. And I think that faith has been proven warranted to date. But again, I agree with Jay. Anytime you see something new, you have to look into it. Dr. Choksi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to add 3 points briefly. First, as you said, continuing our COVID vaccination efforts remains an urgent priority for us to protect New Yorkers. And that's why we are proceeding with administering the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to help us beat back the pandemic. as we assess the Johnson & Johnson vaccine during this pause. And second, while these events are extremely rare based on what we know now, the federal government has recommended that we take this step. And so the city is also proceeding out of an abundance of caution to pause the administration as we've described. This is deliberately being termed as a pause because it's a chance for us to step back and assess, give our partners, the CDC and the FDA, a chance to investigate the cases and understand their relationship to the vaccine, and whether or not that relationship exists, so that we have full information going forward. And that leads to the third point, which is what Dr. Varma mentioned. This is the vaccine system working exactly as it should. Events are reported into a national system, and the actions that we're taking today locally reflect how seriously we take signals from our warning system. And we're committed to continuing to communicate with the public as further developments arise.
Thank you.
The next is David Rodriguez from Telemundo.
Hi, good morning, Mayor. I have a question for you. You mentioned that, and we know that you get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I want to ask you, what was your thought when you saw the information or the report from CDC and FDA about this?
David, thank you for the question, and I will answer personally to you. I saw it as really an abundance of caution on the part of the FDA because it's a handful of cases out of millions of vaccinations. And I understood that that was important, that nothing should be ignored or taken for granted. But for me, I did not feel any less confident in the vaccination because millions and millions of people got it successfully around the country, hundreds of thousands here. So there needs to be an investigation. I'm hopeful it will find that we can easily continue to go on with Johnson & Johnson, maybe with certain parameters. But it doesn't change my view in the end. And I had a very successful experience with the vaccination. Go ahead, David.
Yes, our community, we have a lot of Hispanic people here in New York, and there are so many people, so many Hispanic who are still thinking about having the vaccine. After these breaking news this morning, which is your message, Mr. Mayor, to that community, to the Hispanic who feel some fear about the vaccine?
I do understand anytime people feel hesitation, David, and we've been dealing with this from the very, very beginning of vaccination, back going all the way to December. There's been hesitation, some concern, some confusion, rumors, all sorts of things. What continues to be proven true for the Latino community and all communities is vaccination stops COVID. And our biggest challenge right now is COVID. So yes, it's very important the federal government will do its examination. But, tens of millions of people have gotten the Moderna vaccination. Tens of millions of people have gotten the Pfizer vaccination. We are not seeing any significant problems. I would say to people, go out there and get vaccinated. This is the time to do it. The biggest danger to all of us is COVID. The biggest danger to your family is COVID. The thing to do is to get vaccinated. This does not change that basic truth.
The next is Sophia Chang from Gothamist.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to just see if you could tell us numbers of appointments that are going to be canceled and rescheduled, and whether there's any indication of signs of blood clots of those in New York who have already received the J&J.
I'll go to Dr. Choksi and Dr. Katz on both the appointments being canceled and any information we've gotten from the experience here in this city. Dr. Choksi first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me start with the number of New Yorkers who have received the J&J vaccine thus far. It's about 234,000 people across New York City. And thus far, we have not seen any similar reports to what was shared from the FDA and the CDC about this specific type of blood clot which is known as cerebral venous sinus thrombosis. So we continue to monitor for that, of course, in coordination with our federal partners, but we have not seen that thus far. With respect to the appointments that are being rescheduled, I want to emphasize one part of what the mayor has already said, which is that appointments will be honored even if they have to occur at a later date. So where we are able to shift appointments to another type of vaccine, whether it's Pfizer or Moderna, we will do that as soon as possible in the coming days. And for others, we will reschedule those appointments in the coming days as well. It's on the order of about 4,000 appointments that will have to be rescheduled today, and we're committed to doing that in the way that I described.
Go ahead, Dr. Katz.
Sir, so Health and Hospitals is primarily doing the Pfizer vaccine because of our ability to handle the difficult freezer requirements. So the hospitals themselves are doing Pfizer and our clinics are doing Moderna. In the case of T2 sites that are using J&J, we will be able to switch them to either another vaccine or arrange for them to get another vaccine on another day soon. In the jail at Rikers, where we have been very successfully using J&J, as well as for hospital discharges, we will stop immediately doing that and offering people one of the other vaccines. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I don't know, I may have missed it from either one of you. Dave, you may have the composite figure. How many overall appointments will we have to postpone per day? Do you have a sense of that?
It's on the order of 4,000, sir.
4,000. Thank you. Go ahead, Sophia.
Thank you. And about the Summer Rising program, how is the city going to pay for this, and how's staffing going to work, given that it's been an ongoing issue for the school year itself?
First of all, Sophia, we thank God, as we talked about before, we now have a whole different reality with education funding, thanks to the actions of the state legislature. And I'm going to thank Andrea Stewart-Cousins and Carl Hastie as many times as I possibly can, because fulfilling the commitment of the Campaign for Fiscal Equity, 15 years or more later, it's finally being done, changes everything for us. So this is why we're announcing Summer Rising is not just for this summer. This is the vision going forward. This will be a part of summers in New York City for years and years to come. So we have the resources now. And we believe there's going to be talent. I'll turn to the chancellor on this point, but we obviously have thought very carefully about the talent that we'll need both from the community-based organizations and educators to make this work. And we feel very confident that there's plenty of talented folks who want to be a part of this. And obviously more and more of our educators and community-based organization folks have gotten vaccinated. Constantly those numbers are going up. So we feel very good about the folks available to us. Chancellor.
Yes, we're really excited about the opportunity to partner with DYCD around this. And so staffing will include licensed teachers. It'll include our community-based organization partners. It'll include social workers, guidance counselors. And so we really look at this summer as an opportunity to bring two worlds together that have always supported students in the summer, but doing it in a way that brings the great programming into one place in a really holistic way where academics, enrichment, social emotional learning, and supports are all in one place. And we are, like the mayor said, so excited about the resources that are flowing into New York City to support it this year.
The next is Bob Hennelly from the Chief Leader.
Good morning. I just wanted to ask you, it seemed that USA Today, there was a panel of nationally recognized experts on public health who surfaced the notion you had a while back about the potential of extending the protections by putting off that second dose of a vaccine in light of what they said was the concern about a fourth wave and the proliferation of variants. Did you see that? And could you make that case? I would imagine in light of Johnson & Johnson, that case is even stronger.
Yeah, I appreciate the question, Bob. This is something actually I spoke with our healthcare leadership about this weekend. before we knew this, because we obviously knew we had a slowdown in the Johnson & Johnson supply because of the situation at the factory in Baltimore. So we were starting to ask ourselves, does this change strategy? Based on that conversation, the answer was no, not at that point, because there's obviously great advantages to keeping the current scheduling approach. I'd like to believe that this is a temporary reality. Bob, I'll turn to Dr. Varma for his view, but I'd like to believe that what we're going through here, both in terms of the Johnson & Johnson production and the investigation needed here, is something that will play out over weeks, and then we'll be back with the kind of numbers of vaccine supply that we need. If that weren't true, I think it would be important to keep asking the question, do we want to change the strategy around the timing of the second doses? But my hope is that won't be necessary yet. Dr. Varma.
Yeah, thank you for this question. This has been a source of intense discussion and debate throughout the scientific community, not just here in the U.S., but internationally. And we've been closely monitoring all the evidence for and against it. I'll tell you sort of my decision-making about this topic, because I do think it's important for people to understand how we look at it. When there have been clear scientific studies showing the benefit of a regimen, in this case, the 2-dose regimen, we really have to be careful about changing that, because that is really the strongest evidence, is when you do a very high quality clinical trial, in this case, multiple clinical trials, showing that 2 doses is effective. And we have seen some real world evidence from the UK, from Israel, that a single dose is effective. But we have also seen at the same time studies with the emergence of variants showing that a single dose is less effective in the presence of a high proportion of variants. And that is the situation that we have in New York City right now, where the vast majority of cases right now are caused by new strains. So it really leads me to believe that even though there may be some benefit from giving a single dose and spacing it out, there is a real risk in doing that as well, especially given the situation we have. And I think we also need to look at the epidemiologic context, as the mayor has noted. What we've seen in the past week are really encouraging signs that the combination of all the individual measures people are taking, plus the vaccines, are driving cases down. And there was a risk that with this high level of variants that we may not get there. So I do feel at this point right now that continuing the strategy that we have is the best approach. But of course, we are going to learn more as we hear from the J&J vaccine and we learn more about our vaccine supply.
Thank you. Go ahead, Bob.
Yes, also in the state budget, it was such a huge document. There was a provision for city employees, up to your discretion, to seek early retirement. As you know, because you've commented on it often, this has been an unprecedented burden on this workforce. Can you talk about the parameters that go into the thought behind this? Do you support it? And give us a TikTok so people can plan their lives. Because right now what's happened is there are people that are struggling with long-term COVID. You may have a household where 2 people are in the civil service. One has reached retirement, the other hasn't. Can you add some clarity and give us some transparency about how this process will play out?
Yeah, thank you, Bob. One, I want to emphasize, anyone who's experiencing long-term COVID, we really want to help them, and that's so much of the focus we've had with our COVID Centers of Excellence through health and hospitals to start providing direct support to folks who have those ongoing symptoms. So want to encourage anyone who is experiencing that to connect with health and hospitals for the ways that we can help you. Now, the legislation in Albany, I think it was drawn properly to give localities a choice. We're looking at it now. We want to be mindful. We understand there's certainly folks who work for us who have an interest in this opportunity. We're also very, very concerned, obviously, about getting the work done we have to get done for the people right now as we try and bring this city back. So it's just happened. We're going to look at it. We're going to decide if it's something that makes sense for New York City and how to proceed. We're going to be talking to our union partners. But all I can tell you is I thought the legislature handled it in a smart way, and now it's up to us to decide the next steps, and we'll be looking at it over the next few weeks.
The next is Christina Vega from Chalkbeat.
Hi, Mayor. Thanks for taking my question. I want to ask about summarizing. The press release mentions there'll be safety protocols, and I'm just wondering what those will look like. Will they follow the same testing and closure procedures as we see currently in schools?
Yeah, Christina, it's going to be that same basic approach. There will be regular testing. I mean, we'll keep adjusting, obviously, as data and science warrants, but the basic concept is there'll be regular testing, there'll be a situation room, and we'll act according to what we see, site by site. That said, we're really, really encouraged by what we're seeing overall in our school communities, and I expect it will only get better as we go into the summer, because by then we still, even with current events, I still think we're going to get 5 million people vaccinated in this city, and that's going to change the reality with COVID fundamentally. Go ahead, Christina.
Thanks. My second question has to do with students who don't have 12-month IEPs, who just have 10-month IEPs. Given the problems that families with children who have disabilities had in accessing the Learning Bridges programs, can you say what kind of supports will be available to those students to participate in Summer Rising?
Yeah, I'll turn to the Chancellor and say, Christina, we are really sensitive to the fact that families with kids with special needs have gone through so much in this crisis. They go through a lot when there's not a pandemic. The pandemic has exacerbated the challenges of these families deeply. We want to really be there to support them, and we understand how much the in-person element matters. So we have factored that into the work we're doing here. Chancellor.
Yeah, and part of the reason why we are opening more campuses and buildings and keeping this as local as possible where we can is because we know our school communities know their students, they know their needs, and principals are really being thoughtful about who they are ensuring to really encourage to be a part of this program. And while we want as many students as want to take advantage of this opportunity, we also know that we have students who have needs that we need to make sure that we're addressing this summer, but we want to make sure that as we address those needs, we're also giving them a full, well-rounded experience. I'd also like to bring Chris Caruso in, who can add to this question as well.
Is Chris out there?
Yes.
You guys have Chris?
You have Chris?
All right, Chris Caruso. Well, it said so many nice things about you. I didn't know you were there.
We didn't mean to.
Yeah, take it back. Chris, go ahead.
I was blushing. Hi, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chancellor. And thanks for your question. Yes, we're working with the Department of Youth and Community Development on the staffing of this, and all buildings will have paraprofessionals to support the needs of our students with IEPs. We'll also have social workers and nurses and other mental health professionals in the school buildings to make sure that mental health and SEL needs are met. But we will commit to the paras in every school, so any child that needs those supports will get them.
Thank you.
Thank
The next is Nolan from the Post.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Hey, Nolan, how you doing?
I'm all right. I was disappointed. I didn't need to ask you what the worst Trek movie was yesterday.
Oh, that's a deep topic, Nolan. Let's just say the movie experience did not live up to the television series. How's that?
Fair enough. On the topic of the Summer Rising program, about how many kids do you expect to enroll into it, and what's the price tag for it?
So I'll start and turn to the Chancellor. I think there's initial estimates, obviously. We could see as many as 200,000 kids. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more, but that's the working estimate now. Price tag between DOE and DYCD, we believe, will be something in the neighborhood of 120 million. Chancellor, you want to add?
No, you got it. We want to, again, serve as many students as we can. We know we could do 200,000. We could do more if families are interested in being a part of the program. And we just want to encourage families to really take advantage of this opportunity. And we are just delighted at the resources that are giving us the opportunity to really lean into this program. That is, as the mayor said, the new direction for what summer should be for young people in New York City.
Yeah, and Nolan, just finishing this point from the Chancellor's comment, you know, a lot of times parents, and I can say it as a parent myself, you know, it was often hard to find the right summer opportunity, and parents are often struggling to find, you know, someplace that works for their kids, that they can afford. You know, we want to just cut through all that this summer and say, if you don't have something else and you're looking for something, we have a great alternative that involves academics, it involves recreation, it involves culture. It is free to all parents. Substantial hours, especially for younger kids that parents need. This hopefully will take a lot of stress out of parents' lives, just knowing they've got a safe, positive place for the kids to be this summer. Go ahead, Nolan.
And I know you fielded a bunch of questions about this over the recent days. The most recent ComStat report from the police department shows shootings are up for the month by double. You've been offering the same set of answers when asked to explain the shootings and what the city is doing about the shootings for the last many months, even as the surge has persisted. You've said that the vaccines would help fix the problem. You've said that reopening the city would help fix the problem. You've said part of the problem is caused by the shutdown of the court system. Your police chief has tried to attribute some of it to bail reform. Your Office for Criminal Justice has disputed your police chief's explanation for the crime surge. So we're now, give or take, a year into the shooting surge. When are you going to have an answer that actually fixes the problem?
No, and again, you're an intelligent person, so you understand that this whole society went through a huge upheaval last year, and to undo what happened as a result of a global pandemic, it does take time, but it is happening, because exactly what I believe is you need to bring back the whole society. That's happening. You need the vaccinations that are happening. You need a lot of vigorous efforts by the NYPD to get guns off the streets. Again, we're at a 25-year high in terms of gun arrests and getting guns off the streets. We do need the court system to function. I mean, it's not a throwaway to say, by the way, we don't have a court system function. We don't have a criminal justice system function, and that's hurting and hindering all our other efforts. So the answer is I believe the truth. But let's start to move all of these pieces more deeply, and you will see a turnaround. And obviously, the statistics are amplified by the fact that everything was shut down. The whole world was shut down a year ago, and that, I think, is showing in the statistics in a way that creates some artificiality. But what's not artificial at all is that people are suffering. We don't want it to happen. We are going to turn the tide, but we're going to need all those pieces to come together to do it.
We have time for two more for today. The next is Ariama from Kings County Politics.
Hello? Hello?
Hey, Ariama, how you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing? So I got to hear you this morning on High 97. You were talking to Ebro about Dante Wright. So I just wanted to pivot a little bit and ask some follow-up questions about that.
Go ahead.
So very specifically, I appreciate the support. You were tweeting about Dante Wright's situation, how it deserved a full investigation in the case of that officer, and it was wrong, right? But I feel like we're talking the talk as a city and not walking the walk, because last week the Bronx DA decided not to prosecute any of the officers in the shooting of Antonio Williams and Officer Brian Lokeen. So I feel like it's very similar situations. In which it was quote-unquote mistaken or friendly fire, and 2 people died in this situation instead of 1, and nobody's being prosecuted. So my question is, can you just explain to me how the situations are different, and why wouldn't the Bronx DA prosecute anyone?
Ariama, I appreciate the question, and I can tell it's a very sincere question. I mean, first of all, I can't speak for the Bronx DA. And obviously you should ask her thinking, but I can say I truly believe they're very, very different incidents. I mean, I think the shock we're all feeling from what happened in Minnesota is it's just unconscionable. It's just unbelievable that in a traffic stop where there's a number of officers around, there was just no reason in the world to use a gun. And it's just unbelievable that happened. And again, the notion that the officers said they thought they had their taser in their hand. You know, I said this morning, anyone who doesn't know the difference between a taser and a gun should not be a police officer to begin with. So I think what happened in Minnesota is horrifying, and it's just this horrible, like, when is this country going to stop killing black people? Like, what is going on here? It is not acceptable. It has to end. And this was one of the most troubling incidents because there was just no reason for it whatsoever. The situation in the Bronx was a horrible tragedy. where a civilian and a police officer ended up dead, but it was in the middle of night, in the middle of a conflict. It was a very complex situation and a very different one in my view. Go ahead, Ariama.
Okay. My follow-up question for that is, because you were also talking a little bit about police initiatives and diversity hiring, as we have been for past week. How do you address people who feel like diversity hiring, yes, it's important, but it's moving too slowly to impact the police now? What would you say to them?
I understand that concern. I mean, if you look at just the truth of the NYPD, it is a majority people of color police department. But we have to do more. And a particular challenge is recruiting more African Americans into the NYPD. One of the things we did in the police reform was create some very targeted efforts, working with community-based organizations and working with the city council to start a new type of recruitment, grassroots recruitment, not just from the NYPD, but from grassroots organizations, to move people in their own neighborhoods to join, because it is absolutely necessary for the changes that have to be made. It's also important to change the composition of leadership in a variety of ways and bring in more and more voices from all communities. That's why we instituted a rule around the interviewing process for precinct commanders and more senior positions, so that now there'll be a guarantee there will be people of color interviewed in every instance. I think the effort to ensure community input in the selection of precinct commanders will help and also give more faith in communities. I think all of these things are needed. I think those efforts can have a very real and fast impact. I really do. I think what we're finding with policing is you have to stay at reform all the time. But if you do, it adds up. Just the fact that we teach de-escalation in this city has had a huge impact over the last 6 or 7 years. And it needs to deepen and continue, but that's one example right there. A lot has been different because we teach officers differently, and that proves that you can make an impact in real time.
Last question for today goes to Yoav from the city.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to ask you about accessing disciplinary outcomes from the NYPD. If I ask them, what discipline did an officer receive for a particular incident? The current protocol is they require that I submit a FOIL to get that information. Now, and I'm not referring to disciplinary records. It's me just saying, what discipline, if any, did this officer receive? When you submit a FOIL, the earliest date that they give for fulfilling that is 6 months in the future. And I just wanted to ask you, for a simple kind of factual information like that, whether that conforms with your push for more transparency from the NYPD.
It's a fair question, Yoav. I want to get all the details right. Look, I want maximum transparency. We've obviously, we have a whole new reality thanks to the state legislature. Something I wanted for a long time was the repeal of the 50A law. We got that. We've put out a huge amount of disciplinary information proactively now. I believe that transparency is helpful. I want to understand what's happening with the specific types of requests you're talking about, so let me find out more about that and respond. But there's no question directionally, more transparency is helping build more trust between police and community. Go ahead, Yoav.
Thank you. I'd appreciate, I guess, hearing back from your team on whether that's going to change. The related issue is last summer, the New York Times published 60 plus videos of officers using alleged excessive force against protesters. And at the time, you said that the public will get an update video by video of what happened, and literally a list of the disposition of every single incident that was highlighted in that article. I know the lawsuit over 50A has delayed the provision of that, but what's the status of that? Same thing. I asked the NYPD for it and was told to FOIL, but Obviously, I don't have the names of the officers in each case, so that's impossible. When can we expect more info on that?
Everything you said made sense to me, Yoav. Your history is right that I want that very clear public accounting of what happened in each case out there. And yes, the lawsuit held us up for a long time. I need to see if there's anything still legally in the way. If not, I think it would just be very instructive to put out case by case what happened. And, you know, I just think it's good to say, here's why things happen the way they do. Because allegation is allegation, but then when there's investigation, you know, it determines what happens next. And it's good to show people the results so they understand. So let me find out, you know, if legally we're cleared now to get that out. And if so, I would certainly like to see that happen right away. And our team will follow up with you. Okay, as we close down, everyone, look, a lot going on today, a lot of different pieces. The one I want to end on is this really groundbreaking approach to summer for our kids. I just want people to think about it this way. For years and years, summer school, unfortunately, I remember when I was a kid, summer school was considered something, well, if a kid didn't do well, they end up in summer school. It was almost like a punishment. And what we've learned over the years is a lot of kids benefit from getting more support over the summer, getting enrichment, getting cultural activities, recreation, academics, all of that. It's really good for kids. A lot of kids benefit from more time in a school setting, but it comes with a lot of fun and a lot of extra activities that make it very special. And we know a lot of parents struggle to find the right opportunities for their kids in the summer, especially parents who are stressed, their schedules stressed by everything we've been through with COVID. We've taken all of those ideas and put them together into something brand new. So this is now summer for everyone. It's Summer Rising. It's a whole different thing. It is not summer school as we knew it. It's something different and in so many ways better. And it's open to all and it's free. And I think for a lot of parents, as they hear this news, I hope they can breathe a little sigh of relief, knowing that there's one less thing to worry about. And they've got a great choice for their kids this summer that will help them move forward and bring us even more strongly to September when schools will come back for everyone. Thank you, everybody.